Welcome to Deep Dive Defense, military and aerospace enthusiasts. Over here we give rare insights you won't hear elsewhere. Today's topic is the Fattah-2 hypersonic missile. First revealed in late 2023, the Fattah-2 employs the same first-stage booster as its predecessor, the Fattah-1. While the Fattah-1 is classified as a hypersonic ballistic missile, the Fattah-2 may be better described as a hypersonic cruise missile. The development of this missile was driven by advancements made by the Defense Ministry's Aerospace Industry Organization, with projects like the Fateh 110, Zulfiqar, and Desfoul. Key personnel from these projects later joined the IRGC Aerospace Forces Self-Sufficiency Jihad Organization, an elite institution focused on developing more exotic, high-end missile systems for specialized purposes. This design team, stemming from the legacy of late General Tehrani Moghadam, created the Zohair and Khaybar Sheikhan aeroballistic missiles as well as the Fattah-1 hypersonic ballistic missile, which were necessary stepping stones for developing hypersonic cruise missile. The development of a hypersonic cruise missile aims to achieve a lower flight trajectory compared to the Fattah-1, as well as to provide the hypersonic glide vehicle with a larger cross-range footprint. The latter capability allows for significant directional changes, creating a potentially unexpected attack vector for the opponent. One part of achieving such a capability is the steel alloy motor casing used on the Fattah-1 and the Khaybar Sheikhan 1 and 2. The high melting point of steel alloys enables the motor casing to withstand aero heating better while flying through the denser layers of the atmosphere, potentially never leaving it. This is unlike the depressed ballistic trajectory Fattah-1, which leaves the atmosphere to increase its range. The steel motor casing also acts as a heat sink, remaining intact until burnout and final separation from the hypersonic glide vehicle. The Fattah-2's glide vehicle has a high lift-to-drag ratio, allowing it to glide further distances compared to the simpler geometry conic hypersonic glide vehicle of the Fattah-1. However, aero heating poses a critical problem as these vehicles travel through the upper atmospheric layers, typically ranging from 40 to 80 kilometers. The hypersonic glide vehicle must find a flight trajectory that minimizes thermal stress, since the low densities in these upper layers do not allow for very effective convection of thermal energy to the surrounding airflow. This challenge makes the hypersonic glide vehicle ever hotter the longer it flies, depending on the dynamic pressure, which is resulting from speed and altitude, and the effective heat conductivity in the layer through which the vehicle travels. The goal is to avoid reaching a critical threshold temperature that would cause the vehicle's materials to lose their mechanical strength, leading to catastrophic malfunction. Additionally, the initial velocity of the hypersonic glide vehicle gradually decreases over the duration of the flight, even for a powered high lift-to-drag ratio vehicle like the one used on the Fattah-2. Advanced solutions to counter this are propulsion systems to sustain the losses due to drag. These solutions include solid propellant boosters, like those used on the Fattah-1, ramjet propulsion, as believed to be used on the Russian Zircon hypersonic cruise missile, and future solutions like the United States' work on scramjet's propulsion. The Fattah-2, however, uses a liquid propellant sustainer motor that can throttle its thrust, unlike the less controllable solid fuel booster on the Fattah-1. This capability allows the Fattah-2's propulsion system to trim its thrust to compensate for speed loss due to drag. After initial unpowered glide, slowly decelerating from its maximum speed, the propulsion system starts and maintains a sustained velocity equilibrium at which the hypersonic glide vehicle travels at a constant speed. A key advantage of the Fattah-2 over the Fattah-1 is that the hypersonic glide vehicle is believed to stay within the atmosphere for the entire flight duration. This allows the flight control surfaces to enable aerodynamic steering and manipulate the flight trajectory, particularly in lateral directions. Low-altitude flight means the opponent's early warning radars, depending on line of sight, can only detect the missile at a later stage, and the ability to change the lateral direction means the Fattah-2 can approach from an unfavorable attack vector. The benefits of maneuverability extend further, effectively defeating the launch-on-remote method used by ballistic missile defenses such as David's Sling and Patriot PAC-3. The completely variable position of the hypersonic glide vehicle in 3D space prevents accurate estimation of where to send an interceptor for a successful interception. Additionally, The longer-burning liquid propellant sustainer motor ensures that the hypersonic glide vehicle enters the ballistic missile defense envelope at a relatively high energy state, allowing extensive evasive maneuvering during the endgame phase. Its relative low flight altitude also means that the interceptor trying to hit it has to fly through denser air layers, which reduces its effective range. The combined effects of late detection, unknown attack direction, unknown intended target, and intense evasive maneuvering at relative low altitude impose immense requirements on missile defenses to counter a threat class represented by the Fattah-2. To understand the design of the Fattah-2's booster stage, one can examine the Fattah-1 and K-Bar-Shikan series. The Fattah-2 differs primarily in its hypersonic glide vehicle, which features high lift-to-drag ratio and a wedge shape modeled after the flight-proven American X-51 Wave Rider design. This complex wedge shape is significantly more difficult to manufacture than the conic hypersonic glide vehicle of the Fattah-1, but the extra effort it requires is necessary for achieving the required lift-to-drag ratio for a hypersonic cruise missile. Given that cost is a significant factor in the designs of the IRGC Aerospace Self-Sufficiency Jihad organization, the Fattah-2 forgoes the complex and immature scramjet propulsion of the X-51. It also omits the costly non-ablative metal heat shield design, instead relying on ablative carbon-carbon composite structures in regions where peak thermal stress occurs. Key to this design are volume-producible components made of carbon-carbon composite, with the most critical being the duckbeak-shaped tip made of 3D carbon-carbon composite, which must be of sufficiently high grade to withstand travel through the hypersonic regime. Other components, such as the aft steering fins, are also made of ablative carbon-carbon materials. Iran's early investment into testing infrastructure, the most critical being hypersonic wind tunnels, proved to be a key enabler for the development of advanced hypersonic glide vehicles. Yet still, the difficulty of this technology incentivized the design team to follow a conservative approach by using the US X-51 as basic vehicle shape. The liquid propellant propulsion system of the Fattah-2 hypersonic glide vehicle uses pressure-fed oxidizer and fuel tanks that feed the motor, which has a high expansion ratio nozzle. The range of the Fattah-2 is expected to be similar to or less than that of the Fattah-1, estimated between 1,000 and 1,500 kilometers. This range is manageable by ablative carbon materials, similar done so by the Chinese with their DF-17. Longer ranges would require more exotic solutions, such as the actively cooled tungsten nose tip of the X-51, which are cost-prohibitive for Iran's requirements for conventional payload use. Within the IRGC Aerospace Force, the Fattah-2 is anticipated to be the most advanced missile system alongside the Khorramshahr-4 K-Bar. Flight tests of the Fattah-2 are not yet known to have begun, and it is believed to be some time away from entering operational service. Once fielded, it will be the weapon of choice for attacking adversary ballistic missile defenses and high-value targets protected by the most advanced assets. The Fattah-1 and Fattah-2 are also certainly the main drivers for the development of the Israeli Arrow 4 hypersonic missile defense system. Advanced, large, and expensive interceptors like the Arrow 4 might be effective against the Fattah-2, albeit with a decreased probability of kill and area under protection. Systems like David's Sling and Patriot PAC-3, if fired in ripple mode with the penalty of highly reduced area under protection, have also some chances of success, though with a significantly lower probability of kill. The key missile defense defeat mechanism for the Fattah-2 is best described as energy defeat. The faster Fattah-2 glide vehicle, powered by its motor, descends from the thinner air layers while executing random evasive maneuvers. In contrast to that, the interceptor ascends through denser air layers and must constantly steer to react to these evasive maneuvers, thereby bleeding its energy to remain on the interception trajectory. The objective of pseudo-random evasive maneuvering by weapons like the Fattah-2 is to slow down the incoming interceptors sufficiently to render interception infeasible. There is no need for a sensor to detect the incoming interceptor and initiate a high-G evasive maneuver to dodge it. The capability of the interceptor to defeat the hypersonic glide vehicle is indicated by the speed at which both meet each other. If the energy state of the interceptor has been sufficiently degraded, it can no longer react to random maneuvers and still hit the target. A situation that worsens for the interceptor if it employs a hit-to-kill vehicle, which requires a direct hit. For the IRGC Aerospace Force, a weapon like the Fattah-2 represents a whole new kind of capability, combining very high penetration ability and low detectability. Among Iran's adversaries, only the United States possesses an infrared early warning satellite capability with the SBIR's Constellation. With the proliferation of anti-satellite weapons and the likelihood of future conflicts affecting satellite constellations, there is the possibility of a scenario where a well-timed attack with Fattah-2 hypersonic cruise missiles could enable an undetected decapitation strike against Iran's most advanced adversaries. Beside missile defense penetration, this potential capability additionally justifies the higher cost of the Fattah-2 compared to the Fattah-1. The still comparatively simple design of the Fattah-2 hence incentivizes the IRGC Aerospace Force to build a sizable arsenal of these weapons as key special-purpose assets. So that's all for today. If you liked it, give a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. It really makes a difference in the YouTube algorithm and is a great support to the channel. The Real Enthusiast can become members and given access to exciting membership area material. Thanks for your support and motivation. See you next time.